It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the full shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
I'm Wayne Miller. John, I'm trying to make...
Well, let's, first of all...
the pieces fit.
No, first of all, let's just tell the people that it's movie time.
It is. It is movie time. Right there.
Wayne, what is this mess you have?
Well, I
all
thought,
these pieces.
I thought we were going to put a puzzle together.
Oh, Lord.
Well, and just like in life, there's pieces of the puzzle of this movie.
And it's called Puzzle.
It is called Puzzle, and I liked it.
Oh.
I'll just get that out of the way.
I know.
From
I loved it, too.
It was a lot of fun.
Yes. It stars Kelly MacDonald, isn't it? What's her name?
Yes, yeah, Kelly MacDonald.
It stars Kelly MacDonald.
Yep.
In the role of a lifetime.
Yes, yes. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if she's not hit with an Oscar nomination for this one.
I think its challenge is that she's so underplaying.
Well, underplaying, but that was her character. You know, and I think one of the funniest scenes in the whole movie, not to give a lot away, but at the very beginning, and she's getting a birthday party together and putting up the decorations and frosting the cake, and come to find out it's her birthday.
Yeah.
And she's just almost, you know, there was no, this movie was shades of gray. There was no black and white character that you could say was totally good or totally bad.
Because her lumbering husband,
Yep.
Louis,
Yep.
who owns a garage,
Yep.
You would expect to be some doofus, and
it turns into a very loving character
yes.
in several scenes.
I mean, he's just...
but obviously put out because of what transpires with her, you know, finding. And this is what's kind of funny. She was like a savant. You know, we've seen movies before where all of a sudden somebody finds some inner talent that they excel in. And here, it was just one of two birthday gifts she gets. One's a phone that she really didn't care much
iPhone,
about. Yes, but until later that she becomes, as all of us, dependent on it. But also somebody gives her a 1,000-piece puzzle. And finally, out of sheer boredom one day, since she's a housewife, but basically she's just there to, quote, serve her husband and her two grown sons, she starts putting this puzzle together, and she not only enjoyed it, but she found that she was very good at doing it.
And this is her release. Mm-hmm. Eventually she finds a partner to do puzzle competition with.
Yes. Or in a way, he finds her. You know, somehow she, you know, goes online and finds, you know, this, you know, puzzle group, and that there's competitions. Which,
yes.
you know, I met, you know, with little trophies and a chance to win the nationals and go overseas to an international contest. And another great character in the movie is the fella who's a wealthy, seems like a tech genius, but he's bored out of his mind.
Played by the very dashing Irfan Khan.
Yes. And probably not known hardly at all here in the U.S., except he's a huge star in India, and particularly in Bollywood movies.
Yeah, and I think he just came off of one of our superhero movies as a villain.
Yes.
Much less. I mean, this man is certainly not a villainous type. He is dashing, and he is sleepy-eyed.
Very sleepy-eyed, and not conventionally good-looking by American standards at all.
But look, she's a middle-aged woman. Yep. She's lived her life for her family. She probably doesn't know much. She's only an hour away from New York, and she's never been there.
Yeah.
But she's going to go because of this puzzling business.
Puzzling to say the least, and how it puts. It kind of scatters out. It seems like her life had been a puzzle that had been put together, but here, this kind of like all of a sudden, all the pieces are kind of scattered around and laid out, and it's up to her to maybe put the pieces of her life back together.
I love it. You know, it's a very consistent motif. Mark Turtletaub, who is the director, makes sure, for instance, when she breaks a plate,
yes,
that she puts together the pieces.
Yes, yeah, with her little super glue.
And I understand if you deconstruct many of the shots, you'll see that there are puzzle motifs all over, even in the glass on a door, for instance.
Yes, or at the time that she kind of walks in and kind of looks around at something, and you could see her putting the patterns together. And this was what's funny because who knew that there's, well, the only strategy that I always knew in putting puzzles together, you start with all the little end pieces,
right,
and then the borders, and then you kind of fill in from there. He had, her puzzle partner had a strategy of working first all the different colors separating the colors.
Right.
She, though, in her mind, saw the different shapes and putting the shapes together, like, oh, this looks like this would go here, rather than putting like, oh, here's the yellows, here's the greens, and putting those together.
But it's, of course, the movie is not about about puzzling.
No.
It is one. It serves very well for the theme.
Right.
But it is really about a woman who's ready to emerge in her middle age into a new life for her. And I think, as you said, there's nothing catastrophic going on here. They're just working their way through, particularly her and her husband, who have a loving relationship, but not a very romantic relationship.
No.
And her sons, or one son.
Yeah, the one son who wants to go to culinary school, wants to be a chef, wants to cook, but he's the oldest son, and so he's working in Dad's business.
Dad says this is not a manly thing.
Yeah, to be a cook. If he hadn't seen Gordon Ramsay, then the guy's missing out. But the one thing about Kelly MacDonald, early on, she looks at almost the same age as her sons. She is not an old, until later in the movie that there were some close-ups of her, and you could kind of see her age. And it's funny because I remember the actress from doing a great job on, it was a cable TV series called Boardwalk Empire, and she did an excellent low-key job in that. But when I was telling friends about going and seeing this movie and that it starred Kelly MacDonald, several of them remembered and loved the movie back in 2001, I believe it was, Gosford Park.
Right.
And she had a role in that. And there were a lot of like mega British stars in that kind of murder mystery type of show. But she was like one of the downstairs maids or something like that. And a number of my friends said, oh yeah, I remember her from Gosford Park, and I really liked her in that. She makes an impression, even as low-key as she is.
It's not the Kelly MacDonald you're going to remember, because this is a role of a lifetime for her. She brings this character out. She makes you love this character. She makes you worry about this character.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that she does everything that a great actress would do, who just needed this role. And that's the marvelous thing about the movie. Now, Wayne, you're making me think of an important question about this film. How do we get someone to go see it? You and I loved it, but I mean, we love movies, and an underplayed movie like this is just to our taste. But how do we get friends to go see it?
I recommend it to people, particularly, some of the women that I know at Franklin University. I say, this is for you and your boyfriend or husband or whatever, this is a good date movie. Because I think especially couples can really kind of identify.
Yes.
And not just the females because of the female protagonist, but also the males too.
Yes.
And what do you need to put into a relationship? And of course, we're experts on relationships that have fallen apart like pieces of a puzzle, in our lives with a lot of our female companions. And it made me stop and think, what do you do to really put something in a relationship to make a go of it?
Well, look at
she tries. It seems like he didn't, but he...
Well, I think it's because he's clueless. He's just a big old guy who has no idea about the nuances of an intelligent, sensitive woman and a relationship. And you're right, there are two fronts here. It's their relationship, their marriage, that a lot of people who have been together with someone for a long time can recognize when it gets to certain bumpy points. And then secondly, in this whole Me Too movement and the whole feminist side of our culture, There is something about women who are still statistically doing more of the housework than
Oh,
men.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and their children, they're doing more than anybody. So this is a film to show you what can happen when this builds without you not even knowing it.
Well, two of the smaller supporting characters, I think, added a lot of spice to the movie as far as relationship, and that was the youngest son and his kind of hippie-ish girlfriend.
Oh, right.
Who is a vegetarian, and as the mom is kind of questioning her when they have her over.
Isn't she also devoted to Tibetan business? And
yeah, well, they're going to move to Tibet, and he was going to go with her.
I know, the son was, yeah.
And they were going to sell this property, this lakeside property and cabin that they had,
Yeah.
and what the kids were going to do.
They
were going to give the money to the kids rather than, which I think really kind of showed that how loving they were, even the dad as a parent, even though he disagreed with both his sons. One, because he didn't think pursuing a career as a chef was manly, but also that his other son would kind of give up everything and move to Tibet, with this girlfriend.
Well, if you look at Dad, you can see that these 3 satellites are about ready to bolt. All 3 of them are going to pursue something completely different from what Dad would have promised for them.
Thrown his life into multiple pieces of midlife crisis, kind of thinking, oh my, here he thought he was confident in what he was doing, but not to give a lot away. There's some twists in the movie and how people reacted to them that was kind of unexpected, but yet I think very realistic.
Well, Wayne Miller, the film is Puzzle,
Yes,
and I'm puzzled by what grade you're going to give
I'm
it.
gonna give it an A-.
Right, and I am going to be with you right there with an A-. I think our audience knows that this is a super film.
Yes,
And we hope that they will get over their fetish for big blockbuster summer movies.
Yeah. Well, and because I think some of the ones that have been best this year are ones like Leave No Trace. Talk about family relationships.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one, A Quiet Place.
Yes.
Is a horror film though, but man, it was all about family and choices families make.
It is all about family.
Yeah.
Difficult as it is to keep them together.
And it's kind of that's true. They're like pieces of a puzzle.